Oh, sorry. My name is Toby Finley. My pronouns are they and them.
My name is Milas Houston. My pronouns are also they and them.
We're here as part of a counter-demonstration to a free speech rally that has been organized in conjunction with folks at Wilfrid Laurier University. We're a group of trans and non-binary students who are here to say that trans students deserve justice and to do a silent action against the silencing of trans people's voices within both the institutional conversation as well as within the larger media as well.
The trans voices have been silenced in a number of ways. First of all, by the ways that this free speech discourse has been used to cover up the transphobia that's at the core of these conversations. By calling these conversations neutral, it's establishing this idea that it's possible to lay out both sides equally, but the reality is that there's a power dynamic inherent in that conversation. One side can have this very impersonal academic conversation, while the other side must defend their lived realities and who they are as people. And that can be very harmful. And so it's not conducive to a real debate or a real conversation. Another way is through the institution, which is that Deb McClatchy released an apology publicly to Lindsay Shepherd. This was done prior to any conclusive findings from the internal investigation that was done by a neutral third party from outside the university. So by apologizing before the results of this investigation were confirmed, it's again silenced trans voices by silencing anything that might have come out of this investigation in regards to transphobia that might have happened within this classroom.
I think it's really important that trans people's voices and the impact that this situation has had on trans people are reintroduced to the conversation. I think that the conversation's been taken up in ways that have really erased the transphobia really at the core of the situation from this broader discourse. So we really think it's important that trans students' voices be heard. And we have organized this group of non-binary and trans students in addition with folks who are acting in solidarity in order to amplify the voices of trans students. Thank you so much.
Great. How can people support you?
Folks can take an active stance around this issue and use their voice in order to amplify the voices of trans students. There's been a lot of institutional silence, especially from people who might support our side of the issue, but who feel like they aren't able to speak either institutionally for various reasons or because of the backlash that might befall them. This creates a situation where the trans and non-binary students who are speaking out are taking the brunt of the blowback from this and are receiving a great deal of hate. So if you can use your voice and speak out on these issues, that would be a great benefit to us here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
So maybe we'll go and see some of the folks that are standing.
You want us to come?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So for those folks that are just joining us now, do you want to remind them why we're here?
We're here as a counter-demonstration to the Freedom of Speech rally that has been organized by students at Laurier in order to highlight the silencing that has happened of trans students on this campus and in relation to this issue, as well as the silencing of the transphobia that's really at this issue's core. This is a group of trans and non-binary folks from the community, as well as folks standing in solidarity who want to draw attention and reintroduce the realities of transphobia into this conversation so that we can have a more holistic conversation as we move forward.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and do you want to explain a little bit the situation with Lindsay Shepherd?
Sure, there's limitations on what we can speak to directly in relation to confidentiality, but the issue has been presented in such a way that it was framed as a neutral debate between two sides. So that's what Lindsay has maintained, and we just want to challenge this idea of neutrality because there is so much power dynamics. So there are so many power dynamics inherent in these conversations when one person is tasked with defending their sense of reality against someone else who would claim that their reality doesn't deserve to be respected and that their identities are invalid. And so we think it's really important that trans students and the impact on trans students of these conversations be heard in these broader conversations, and that the institution go through appropriate channels that will allow for trans voices to be recognized in these conversations and not continue to make comments outside of their official investigations that just further the silencing of trans people.
Okay, great. We have 23 people watching right now, and lots of people sending love as well. So the people that are joining right now, can you let them know how they can support from afar?
Yeah, we would love if you could please share this content as well as continue to speak out on behalf of trans and non-binary folks. It's really hard for us right now, for those of us who are speaking out and experiencing a great deal of backlash. So please reach out and offer support to trans and non-binary folks in your lives. Speak out on these issues so that there are more voices contributing to this conversation, and people can really see that there are people who want to see transphobia or who understand that this issue does relate to transphobia and want to see that included in the narrative. The more you folks can speak out, the more impact we are able to have, the more we can push for institutional accountability around the things that have progressed, the more we can push for media accountability around the way these issues have been framed, and the more trans students are going to be able to live safely within their communities and their schools.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to turn the camera to the free speech rally and then kind of show our supporters and then sign off.
Great.
Yes.
So much.
Thank you. This is the free speech rally that is actively silencing trans and non-binary students. We're going to look at the brave people taking silent action one more time. Thank you for joining us. Please share this video.